The address is CBS. Welcome home.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Tom. The Colorcast is on the air now from CBS TV here in Los Angeles, California for October the 16th, 1998. Our old friend David Milch, the co-creator of NYPD Blue, is here tonight. And the always popular and entertaining Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who has a brand new book out, which is not about sex, but is about being a grandparent. And she will be with us as well tonight, along with David Milch. A little email to answer and then on with tonight's festivities. And I want to get back to those headlines tonight, because there's some really cute ones coming up. This is from Gord McDougall. Dear Tom, you are the kind of all late-night broadcaster that I like to have in the chair, and you made it seem so magical back in the Tomorrow Show days. In your conversation with Thomas Gibson on Thursday night, you once again referred to David Hartman's 1974-1975 series, Lucas Tanner, as Lucas Tanner, M.D. Lucas Tanner was not a doctor, but a school teacher. A few years before Lucas Tanner, Robert Hartman played Dr. Paul Hunter on The New Doctors from 1969 to 1973. And once again, you have totally confused the audience. Thank you for allowing me to clear that up. I feel better now. Thank you very kindly. So the day I die, it's going to be Lucas Tanner, M.D. It's like the guy that came home at 6 o'clock in the morning and his wife says, "Where you been all night?" He says, "Well," he said, "I got home around 2 in the morning and I figured I didn't want to wake up you and the kids, so I slept in the hammock out back." She says, "We don't have a hammock out back." He says, "That's my story and I'm sticking to it." See, Lucas Tanner, M.D. This is from Sandra. The Baltimore Police Department, famous for their superior canine unit, was somewhat taken aback by a recent incident. Returning home from work, a lady had been shocked to find her house ransacked and emptied by burglars. She telephoned the cops at once, reported the crime. The dispatcher broadcast the call, and a canine officer patrolling nearby was first on the scene. The police officer approached the house with his dog on the leash. The woman ran out to the porch, sees the policeman with the dog, throws her hands in the air and says, "I come home from work to find my house broken into. I called the police for help. What do? They sent a blind policeman." Now, when we left the headlines last night, we got to the one, where a child's stool is handy in the garden. What I meant there, it was a headline in a garden column in the newspaper somewhere in these United States. A little tiny stool that a child would use, you could sit on as you pruned your tomato vines. I'll wait for quiet. Believe me, it won't be that long a wait. Soviet Virgin lands short of goal again. Soviet newspaper. Organ festival ends in smashing climax. Enraged cow. These are headlines that appeared in papers around the world, the Soviet Union as well. Enraged cow injures farmer with axe. Two sisters reunite after 18 years at the checkout counter. Another health and science headline, never withhold herpes from a loved one. In labor news, if strike isn't settled quickly, it may last for a while. In world news, war dims hope for peace. Yeah, that. Experts say something went wrong in jet crash. Yeah, that'd be true as well. And the final headline, blind woman gets new kidney from dad she hasn't seen in years. I have a hell of a story, but I'm going to save it till the night we get back. Really? Yeah. If pressed, I could.
Oh, let's.
No. We have David Milch waiting, who has much to talk about, and Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who always has tips for us, and you on the toll-free, playing Uriah Heep again tonight. Yeah. I'm Tom. You're watching CBS, and thank you for catching our pictures as we fire them through the air.
Tonight, mystery
Reach introduces New Reach Ultra Clean, the brush that's proven to deliver a superior clean. First, experience the bi-level bristles as they attack plaque between teeth. Then watch as the unique side bristles tackle gum line plaque. And be amazed as the extended tip cleans behind back teeth better than the leading brush. Yes, it's clinically proven superior. It's gonna be big. New Reach Ultra Clean Toothbrush.
Don't just brush, reach.
How's Max doing?
He's doing okay. So how long before Max can play again?
Well, the vet said Max will be back to his old self in a couple of days.
Even the interior of the Chevy Blazer was designed to make you feel at ease. Chevy Blazer, a little security in an insecure world.
How geologist Ted Barton eats a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
First, I take a core sample. Next, I examine the strata. And then I digest the findings.
Chocolate, peanut butter, and a cookie. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
Oh, I'm dreaming Egg McMuffin, hotcakes and sausage too. Did somebody say McDonald's? I hope this dream comes true.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
On an all-new Ricky Lake.
We will find out the truth once and for all.
Did this mother burn her baby 20 years ago? Is he cheating with her best friend?
I seen them rub up against each other.
Man, I ain't doing nothing with her.
You ain't faithful to him?
Is this 14-year-old having dangerous sex?
You're doing it. You're lying and you know it.
These questions are put to the test.
Should we let the lie detector test speak for itself?
On the next Ricky Lake.
Monday at 3 on KOVR 13.
After 30 years of dirt and 30 years of cleaning, Moen's Life Shine finish with titanium will look as good as it did 30 years ago. Life Shine by Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
America is now on sale for $59 thanks to Greyhound. So if there are people you need to see, places you need to be, now is the time to go Greyhound. Plan ahead, call Greyhound, and go anywhere we go for $59 or less.
Right now at the Room Source, get store-wide super savings. Buy the piece and save. Buy the room and save even more. Every item re-tag. Save on this casual sofa, $397. Save even more with the room. This traditional sofa, $497. This modern sofa, $597. Or this 100% top grain leather sofa, $797. An extra $177 off when you buy the room. Store-wide super savings with no payments, interest-free for 1 full year. Buy it today, enjoy it tonight at the Room Source.
At the Room Source, of course.
The Emmy Award-winning writer and producer David Milch helped to define TV realism with the landmark series Hill Street Blues and the current hit NYPD Blue. Here tonight to talk about his successful show, his remarkable life. It's always a pleasure to have David here at CBS, and thank you for joining us on this Friday night. Now, let me ask you here about the departure of Jimmy Smits and the arrival of Rick Schroeder, and how difficult that was for you in terms of, you know, making that switch. Jimmy Smits was a very, very popular man on that show.
Yeah, it's a big transition, and our thought was, don't try to have the new guy fill Jimmy Smits' shoes.
Or make him a Jimmy Smits look-alike, sound-alike. Yeah.
Because Jimmy was such a beloved character, both as a person and in his role, we were a lot more conflicted about this departure than we were about the departure of the guy who preceded Jimmy and who shall remain nameless.
I was going to say.
From my lips in my lifetime. So he may only have 2 or 3 years left to go. What we did with what we thought we would try to do was to incorporate the resistance that we knew an audience might feel toward Rick's character and have that exhibited by the characters on the show. So it's Sipwitz's conviction that he's about 14, and all of the things that an audience might feel will be, I think, expressed and we believe neutralized, you know, in the process of the other characters.
Well, what do we hear from the research? What do we hear from the focus groups and you know, the
Tom, you're going to make me make an obscene gesture with that question. Whatever
wouldn't be the first time.
Whatever the research groups are saying, I'm not listening to.
Good for you. Good for you. You know, they talked to me a long time ago about research and how important it is that we go out and find out what the viewers think. And I'm sure that in the days of Jack Warner and Sam Goldwyn, they didn't go out and say, who do you think should be a star? They said, this is Clark Gable, and he is a star. Isn't that kind of the way it works?
He said, we'll make the Goyim like him.
Yeah. Okay.
That was their position.
So we don't want the audience to have to compare a Jimmy Smith's look-alike, sound-alike. We take a totally different departure and say, you know, here is the man, and this is going to be a part of the show.
What we've always felt is that NYPD Blue is a kind of single organism, and that the relationships among the characters constitute a larger character. And so the process of the incorporation of a new character, the adjustments that all the characters have to make, the resistance that some of them exhibit, all of that is the material of storytelling, and shame on us if we don't do it right.
Okay, now let me ask you here about Brooklyn South, because
please, I was hoping you would.
No, and I'm not going to belabor this point, because I'm sure that you were disappointed, as was CBS, as were those of us who watched that program and enjoyed that program and were captivated by it.
If the camera's tight on top, he is gesturing toward himself and numbering the audience, which puts us up to 17 people.
A lot of people worked very hard there, and it just didn't work.
No, it didn't. And I was not disappointed to see that show go off the air. In a lot of ways, it was doomed by the logistics of its production. That was a show that was shot in the Valley. The kind of work that we do requires real hands-on participation by the writers and the producers, and it was just too tough. I couldn't get over there, and when I got there, I was pissed off, and I was and it just it wasn't going to happen.
How are you? Are you? I mean, you've had a tough year. You know, Jimmy Smits leaves the show, and Brooklyn South doesn't work, and you've probably written 45 or 50 scripts. You've had a pretty tough year in terms of production. How are you doing? Because we've talked.
I'm doing better now that I'm not trying to write 44 scripts in 9 months.
But how are you doing with the demons that we've talked about in the past? You know, those little bugaboos.
Well, you know what they say. I mean, the demons are not with us tonight, which is a plus. But as they say, they're doing push-ups in the parking lot. They're staying fit, ready, and in shape in case, you know, they have an opportunity to
come in,
to join back up. And but in the meantime, I'm much relieved not to be in their immediate company. And to be a little less cavalier about that, I think that part of the thing that at least makes me susceptible to that kind of abuse is not being adequately humble, trying to do too much, trying to do more than is realistic. And I suspect that may come from feeling that I have a lot to prove, that you know, I got to keep fooling them, I got to stay busy, or else they're going to see, you know, the guy behind the little, you know, in the Wizard of Oz, you know, he's, ignore that little man behind the curtain.
That's right. That's right.
So,
let me ask you about that.
Okay.
You know, I don't know you that well, but I've bumped into you in an art store, and I talked to you here. And
did I borrow money?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You are an immensely likable man.
Thank you.
You're very easy to like. You're a nice guy.
Thanks.
And you're a hardworking guy, and you're a talented guy. Where do you get this feeling that you have to prove yourself? That where do you get this feeling that you're fooling us? You're not fooling us. You have produced great quality on television and in other areas of life.
Thank you. I think that everyone, you know, has a childhood, and not without wanting, as you say, to belabor the point, I suspect that you know, one of the sources of my gifts, which are, you know, I have a pretty good ear, I notice how people behave, and that came from being highly trained as a child, you know, because if you didn't know how people were going to behave, oftentimes, you know, you could, it was a good, very attentive to how people behaved. Right. You became vigilant and alert. One of the things that happens under those circumstances, if you're
and you became, forgive my interruption, vigilant and alert, because if you weren't...
Well, it was just a good thing to be.
Yeah.
You never go wrong.
Otherwise you might get hurt,
vigilant. Right? Well, I don't want to say physically hurt, but it was just because that wasn't the case. But anyway, what doesn't develop if you're spending a lot of time looking out, you know, and figuring out how to adjust to other people's expectations, you don't really get a sense of yourself as existing separate from the satisfaction of other people's expectations. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and that can get uncomfortable pretty fast, which then maybe you may medicate that, you know, you may be, and there we are.
Medication.
There we are.
Yeah, medication. Let me take a fast break. We're chatting with David Milch, one of the co-creators of NYPD Blue. Back with David and you on the toll-free after this short break.
Now, Mr. Wells, we're going to monitor your thoughts. Listen carefully. Your boss wants to have a talk with you. You're being audited. It's 110 degrees in rush hour traffic. You're stuck in a used car. Mr. Wells, a used car. Mr. Wells, are you paying attention?
Looks like one vacation is just more fun. We guarantee it. Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
See Meineke today and save.
For a limited time, save a big 50% off lifetime brake pads and shoes.
At Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.
I guarantee it. On America's Night of Heroes, a terrorist threat forces the guy who gets tomorrow's news into uniform.
Do you have any idea what happens to someone impersonating an officer?
But how do you stop an A-bomb from jail? Early edition. And are you sick of the same old TV dramas? Sammo Hung has the cure. All new martial law, then an industrial polluter.
Not seeing anyone. He'll see us.
Comes down on the fighting side.
Better tread lightly, Ranger.
Of Walker.
I'm gonna tread right over you.
On America's Night of Heroes, CBS Saturday.
It's exciting, heart-pounding, a day at the races. But how safe is it for the horse?
1,000 pounds or so of horse hitting down on a little surface about this big, and it doesn't work real well sometimes.
KOVR 13 News looked at the high number of horses that die trying to reach the winner's circle.
Sometimes they'll have a heart attack.
What's being done to protect these animals?
It breaks your heart whenever you have a horse break down on you.
Racing Towards Destruction, Thursday at 5 and 10 on KOVR 13 News.
There are lots of ways to save money.
Gotta love those coupons. I am saving $3.65.
I used to use these once and then throw them away. What was I thinking?
You could save a lot of money if you call and switch your auto insurance to 20th Century. Californians pay an average of nearly $800 for car insurance. 20th Century customers pay $200 less.
Oh, I can't cope with a new insurance agent.
You don't have to. At 20th Century, you deal direct and pay no agent commissions. Plus, we only insure good drivers, over 1 million of them in fact, and we've lowered rates almost 20% since March of '96. If you've had no moving violations or accidents in 3 years, you could save big money with just one call.
One call to save hundreds of dollars? Count me in.
At 20th Century, being a good driver has big rewards.
Call 1-800-395-8800 for your free rate quote. One call could save hundreds of dollars, so call 1-800-395-8800.
We're back with David Milch. Before I leave the substance of your demons, and this would be substance, which you've used on occasion, we've talked about this before, it's no secret. Do you have the feeling that work is easier if you use substance?
You know, it isn't. And it's the same. actually, but the qualities are different. The work I'm doing now, I could never have done using, simply because there are subjects that I feel permission to deal with that I didn't have. You know, you're a kind of emotional exile when you're using. There are certain things that you feel impious about portraying, like happiness, for example. And certain aspects of spirituality, unless you're sort of portraying them with your nose pressed up against some invisible glass barrier, portraying a character in that circumstance. So there's a lot more stories that I'm able to tell. I think I told the stories about people's with their noses up against a glass barrier persuasively, but that gets a little old as time goes on.
And are there places that you routinely stay away from because they are places that would lead you into temptation?
Yes, I have a list. I have a substantial list of those places, and not just places, you know, people, things. I find most days that end in Y, a trial, for example.
A which?
A days that end in Y.
Oh, right.
Are always a challenge for me.
A little slow on the uptake, forgive me. Yeah. And how about like casinos?
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. And it's very, I've mourned that peculiarly, you know, I think more than other things that I've given up, because it was so much associated with my dad. You know, the
good doctor.
Yeah, and he used to take me through. I have horses this Sunday, Tom, running for $1 million in purses, and I ain't going, and I ain't gonna listen.
Really?
And on the one hand, I know that that's the right thing to do because it puts you in a slippery place and it gets you agitated and so on. On the other, it's a real drag. But there you have it.
And if you went there, what might happen that you wouldn't want to happen?
Well, it's what might happen next is what I wouldn't want to happen. Because once you're there, now you lose. Well, now you gotta do something about that.
That's exactly right.
Either in the next race or a little beverage or something to take the edge off. If you win, you don't want to be a bad sport.
Right.
So a little beverage, a little something to take the edge off. Unless the electricity fails and they don't run the race, you really got no shot, you know, about the next step. So better to stay away.
And do you have any horses that are standing stud? Do you have any stallions?
I do. I have Gilded Time, who is the best horse that I ever owned and who is a champion in America, is now the most successful stallion of his year, to such an extent that the breeding season in North America is organized so that the mares deliver as close to the first of the year as possible. And I know you're fascinated by the particulars of this.
Yes, I am.
Because all horses have a birthday January 1st. So you want them born as close, and I won't explain anymore.
Okay, you don't have to.
But now...
But I've always had a fascination for the gestation period of the horse. Yeah.
Well, I have documents on the subject that I can provide you afterwards. But now, because he's so successful, the Southern Hemisphere mares are also being bred to him. So there's a whole second breeding season, and I get these elaborate thank you notes from him.
From the stallion, right.
Well, you know, just pawings in the dirt.
Yeah.
But, to Dave, never thought I'd be this happy. You know, I didn't realize June could be as good a month.
Yeah, right. Here's Chad on the toll-free in Charlottesville, Virginia. Hi, Chad, and welcome to CBS. Hello.
Hi. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
First, I want to say it's an honor to finally get to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm younger than most of your fans, probably, but...
How old are you, Chad?
I'm 23.
That's the way to Tom's heart, what you're saying right now.
I started watching you back on that other station about 7 years ago.
Thank you, sir, and please say hello to David Milch, my friend here.
Hi, how are you doing, Mr.
Hi,
Milch?
Chad.
Question I had for you tonight is what kind of feedback do you get from police officers about your shows, especially now that Brooklyn South's been canceled?
Yeah, that's a source of great pride to us, that police officers across the country, but in particular in New York, have really taken the show to their hearts and are kind of fiercely proud of it. And Bill Clark, my colleague, who was a homicide detective for so many years in New York City, is largely responsible for the verisimilitude of the show. And even as we speak, there are 4 detectives out from New York City spending the weekend with Bill, and I get a chance to talk to him, and that's how we try to keep the show fresh.
Huh. Great. I just also want to say I love all your shows, but I especially loved the first couple seasons, NYPD Blue with David Caruso.
Yeah.
That was some of the best television I've ever seen. Just intense every episode.
The name slipped out there, didn't it?
Happily, we've been able to maintain our close personal relationship even as our professional paths have diverged.
Chad, I'm glad you called, and thank you for watching.
Thanks a lot.
All right, goodbye now.
Bye.
Let me ask you here about your days at college. Was Clinton at school when you were there?
You know, I'm told that we were in law school together.
Yeah.
But I was so infrequently lucid during that period of time. And
You inhaled, in other words, huh? Not only inhaled.
And the other thing was, in those days, they were experimenting with sending these mass mailings of credit cards, you know, to everyone who was a college graduate, and which I think I helped them to perceive could be a tremendous commercial mistake. Because it was Gulf that sent me a credit card, and you could use your Gulf credit cards to stay at the Holiday Inn. And I couldn't, when I would get on the grounds of the law school, I would get a very, very bad reaction. So I was living at the Holiday Inn on my Gulf credit card.
Right.
And I didn't really have that much to do with the law school until I was expelled, at which point I didn't have anything to do with the law school.
That's right.
So I'm told that President Clinton was there, obviously Hillary was there, and Clarence Thomas was also there at that time. But that's as much as I'm prepared to tell you about them.
I understand that, but in your view, having written many stories about people, what do the president...
And some about dogs.
And some about dogs. What do the president's actions say about him? I mean, you're a man who studies character.
Say he might need another hobby. Obviously, I'm not competent to... your next guest can probably be much better on this subject. I will, however, say that I actually have met President Clinton once, and I shook hands with him, and I felt as if I'd known him forever.
Really?
Now, it may just be that he's a very charismatic politician, but I did feel a sort of like kindred spirit, and we have kind of radar for each other. People who are prone to be obsessive and compulsive in their behavior, and you know, there's a kind of haunted look in his eyes right underneath this tremendous charm and desire to please. And I suspect that someone who is as good as he is at what he does, who may not feel as good about himself as he would like to, might feel drawn, you know, to some forms of release of tension at the end of the day to sort of reconcile those contradictions.
In his case, not a beverage.
I don't know. You know, I don't know. God bless him.
We will continue with David Milch. Still ahead, we have Dr. Ruth Westheimer. We have you on the toll-free. We'll be right back after this break.
According to the press, you couldn't choose a better time to buy a new car. So why not buy the one Automobile Magazine chose over Accord and Camry for their All-Star Award for Best Family Sedan, the Intrigue. Right now, you can receive our lowest financing of the year at 0.9% and enjoy over $2,800 in finance savings on all 98 Intrigues. So come in today and get 0.9% financing or other great offers on the Intrigue and all 98 Oldsmobiles now at your local Oldsmobile dealer.
In a world where every second counts, a quick call can make a big difference.
Cordell, I think the safety bite on the play action.
All right.
Try.
Thanks, Pop.
That's why now all calls under 30 seconds are free. Introducing Sprint Cents Anytime, where all calls are a dime a minute and calls under 30 seconds are on our dime. Call 1-800-PIN-DROP for Sprint Cents Anytime.
Thanks, Pop.
Your toothbrush has limitations. It can clean the surfaces of your teeth, but it may not penetrate the spaces between them where germs breed. Listerine can. Listerine is the one brand, the only brand, clinically proven to flow into the tiny spaces between teeth to kill germs and help prevent the gum disease gingivitis. Liquidate germs your toothbrush may miss with Listerine. Don't let a good mouth go bad.
Satisfying your hunger, but your hunger for life. In this spirit, Snackwell's brings you hearty fruit and grain cereal bars with new orchard fresh flavors like country fruit medley. Live well, snack well.
After 30 years of dirt and 30 years of cleaning, Moen's Life Shine finish with titanium will look as good as it did 30 years ago. Life Shine by Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
Sunday, angels take a bitter man back in time.
Something else happened on the lake that night.
To solve a mystery from his past, touched by an angel. Then, ever wish you could live your life over again? On Sunday for Emma, that wish will come true.
These things happen, honey.
Joanna Kearns and Della Reese in Emma's Wish. CBS Sunday.
Dr. Evan Newman's ex-wife may have cancer.
I think Mom's sick.
And the doctor she's chosen to save her life isn't him.
Give her some time.
An all-new LA doctor, CBS Monday.
I'm Steve Craig, a peace officer and head of the largest law enforcement association in this state. I've heard Dan Lundgren say Gray Davis is soft on crime. Those attacks are absolutely untrue. Gray Davis is for the death penalty, has fought for stiffer sentences for drug dealers, and has been a strong supporter of the assault weapons ban. Take it from me. Cops know who's tough on crime. That's why we're for Gray Davis, not Dan Lundgren for governor.
Gray Davis, experience that will move us forward.
Divorced, bankruptcy, DUI. If you've had your day in a courtroom like this, chances are you're wondering if you'll ever get your financial life back in order. You need to reestablish your credit. And we can help you do that. We'll find the car or truck you need and get you custom-tailored financing that fits your budget and your ability to pay. In other words, give you a second chance. Call the number you see on the screen. We can help, and that's a promise.
Don't have to be alone tonight.
Come play with me.
Just call me.
I want to play.
Pick up the phone.
Call me now. It's live one-on-one.
We can have a really good time.
This call is free.
When you call me, pick up the phone.
This call is free, so call now. 1-800-379-2800. 1-800-379-2800.
I want you to call me right now.
It's free.
With David Milch, here's Gary on the toll-free in Scranton, PA. Hi, Gary. You're on the air. Hello.
How you doing, Tom?
Okay, thanks. Hope you are.
Love your show.
Thank you.
I hope you stay on forever.
Not forever.
Well, as long as you want. David,
okay.
My question is this. I've seen you in other programs, of course, and despite all the tribulations and the trials that you've gone through, how do you keep going back to that well and coming up with the brilliance and the genius and the confidence that it takes to do what you do so well?
Well, thanks a lot. I would like to sort of disabuse Tom's considerable audience of the idea that, my life is full of trials and tribulations. My life is a privilege and a pleasure. My wife Rita and I have 3 beautiful children, and I'm able to do the work that I love, so having said that I'm a very grateful person.
What you've just said, your life is not a living hell.
No. But life is very interesting as well, and there's just so many different ways to dramatize the struggle and the glory and the complexity of our experience.
Is there something going on in your mind all the time about life and its complexities and situations and possible stories and characters?
Yeah. Well, if there's something going on in your mind about life and its complexities, people are falling asleep all over America. But if there are details and specific stories. You know, as they say, God is in the details, and that is always going on. And just driving to work, I see so many different things that are eligible to be made into stories. People in their cars, those that I don't cut off and get into fist fights with, I'm able to imagine, you know, what their lives are like. So there's plenty to do.
And how do you turn that off? Can you turn that off?
No, that's one, you know, that just sort of comes with the territory.
And when you go home tonight, how do you relax or try to relax?
I sort of say my prayers. I mean, I think about the things that I have to be grateful for. And one of the things you try to do in sobriety is, you know, turn it over to the chief.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let him. I tried running the world for a long time, and I was bad at it. You know, there's one of the things that they say in recovery programs is, I row and I let my higher power steer. If I try to steer, he'll let me, but he will never row. and so you know, I tried steering, but I'm happily rowing.
Very good, sir. Gary, I'm glad you called, and thanks for watching.
God bless
Thanks,
both of you,
Gary.
and I hope you do well.
Bless you back, Gary. Thanks a million.
Bye-bye.
It is always a pleasure, David M. Thank you for coming on, and continued success to you, and my love to your family.
And may I tell you, if we don't see each other again professionally, how grateful I am for the opportunity you gave me and for all the pleasure you gave me as a viewer.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll continue with Dr. Ruth right after this short timeout.
Set of 4 selected Goodyear tires before November 28th and get a $50 or $100 U.S. savings bond. For the retailer nearest you, call 1-800-GOODYEAR.
When I bite into a York peppermint patty, I get the sensation that I'm riding on a chairlift in the Swiss Alps, the crisp air rushing by me on my way to the snowy peaks.
York peppermint patty. Get the sensation.
Is a 77-year-old United States Senator too old to go into space one more time? He would be if he weren't John Glenn. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
I am Zortrak, master of the Alpha 9 Galaxy. I fear nothing! Well, except when all the kids are outside and I'm stuck in here. Ow! But is there anyone who'll play with me?
Just order the potato skins and I'll slap them right on my thighs. It's not like I'm going to meet Mr. Right tonight anyway.
Speaking of which...
What?
I met someone.
You didn't.
I did. She's successful, smart, cute, and she likes cartoons even more than I do. You would hate her.
Not another blind date.
No, I called telepersonals.
Telepersonals? You mean you met her over the phone?
Don't look at me like that. It's a great way to meet people. You should try it.
Oh, like I haven't met enough losers already.
Hey, telepersonals isn't for losers. It's for people like you and me. Busy people who are tired of the whole bar scene. A lot of great people call. And so should you. You'd be surprised at who you could meet.
Who will you find on telepersonals? Call and listen. Thousands of people in your area are calling 24 hours a day. Call now and browse online voice messages absolutely free, with no hassles or obligation.
Give telepersonals a try. Call the number on your screen and enter secret code 600 or visit our website.
Dr. Ruth Westheimer pairs the incongruous roles of expert on sex and grandmother and manages to pull it off very well. Her newest book provides advice for grandparents, a group that will expand during the next century and whose value is, in her words, immeasurable. The book is called Grandparenthood, and it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Ruth to our program. You know, as I said to you, when I worked in New York a long time ago, I remember when you first came on the radio, one night a week, Sunday nights on an FM radio station.
Were you shocked when you heard me
Not at
the
all.
first time? No.
Not at all.
I'm glad to hear
In fact,
that.
I said, I'm glad that this is on the air because people need to know this information.
And you know, in those days, I talked about contraception, and that these were the days where it wasn't even known about AIDS.
That's right.
Nobody knew
That's
about
right.
AIDS. But I did say that people have to be sexually literate because we have the information. And look what has happened. It did work. There is right now less unintended pregnancies, still too many. More people just know a little bit more how to please each other. So I'm very pleased.
Let me ask you about grandparenting. There are a lot of people that I've known in my life that when they become a grandparent, they say, I'm too young to be a grandparent. I don't want to be a grandparent.
I hope you are not one of those.
No, I was thrilled to be a grandparent.
Me too. When this grandson...
I was a grandparent when I was 54 years old. I was delighted.
And my grandson, I just turned 70, my grandson is 8. I couldn't wait to have that grandson, and now he has a sister, 2.5, and my son has a little 9-month-old. And I think those people who kind of say, I'm too young, it's a pity. It's a pity because what they take away the pleasure from themselves, and they take away from that pleasure of having a relationship with that grandchild, because that's not a good thought. They should say, fortunately, I'm alive, and here is that pleasure that I can have of seeing that next generation.
What have you learned from having grandchildren that you didn't know from having children?
Tom, the first thing I've learned is that I have to keep my mouth shut.
Exactly right.
With my children, I could scream sometimes, and I could discipline, and there are many things that I could do. With grandchildren, you have to be very careful. You have to know these are not your children. These are your children's children.
That's right.
You can spoil, but you have to check with your children. Don't call at dinner time. You know, with my children, I could call any time.
That's right.
I could do many things. Here, there is another element. And it's very important to be in a good relationship with your children, with your daughter-in-law or son-in-law. What is it in your case?
It would be a son-in-law and a daughter.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's very important to show the delight, but it's also very nice. I don't have to discipline. I don't have to worry about what they eat. All I can do is the pleasure.
And when they begin to act up, I say to my daughter, take her home. The
Same thing.
Yeah.
I don't say it like this. I'm a little bit more
I don't either, but
delicate. I say, you know, in this house, you cannot do this. And whatever they do in their house, but I'm very fortunate. I see my grandchildren every single week. And so I'm really fortunate. They live in New York, and I do see them, and I can spoil them, and it's nice to be
How do you spoil them? What do you do?
Come here. I take them to FAO Schwartz.
Oh, the toy shop, yeah.
I can buy Lego. And, but also I'm very pleased because my grandson, for example, a certain amount of his allowance, which his parents give him, not me, he already puts it away for children who don't have as much as he has. So there are so many issues that are just a pleasure. I love to go alone with him. I took him to Disney World. When I go to the park, I want to be alone with that little 2.5-year-old. I like that little bit of intimacy, but like you said, it's very nice to know when they have to eat. Goodbye.
Goodbye, yeah. And did you not take your grandchildren overseas? Didn't you not have a trip to Jerusalem, I read?
We certainly did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm already worried when I look at that look on you. What else do you know about me? We went to Israel, we went to Jerusalem, and I was very fortunate. It's nice to be Dr. Ruth. They put me up at the King David in a suite. I had a bathroom that's as big as your studio. So I told my children who were in another apartment, I said, come and take a bath here. And that little grandson said, Omi, that's how he calls me. It's like grandma. He said, I would love you even if you were not Dr. Ruth.
So they know who grandma is, huh?
I love, the other day, I let my children go to Paris. and I slept over in my grandchildren's house. And homework had to be done, and I'm sitting there, and Tom, I'm not exactly stupid.
Right.
But I couldn't understand one word of that math homework. That's some new math. I didn't understand the terminology. I said to my grandson, I said, I'm terribly embarrassed. Here I'm supposed to know so many things. I don't understand. Whom could we call? And he wanted to protect me. He didn't want me to be embarrassed. So he said, Omi, how many countries did you visit? Because he knew I would come up with like 25, 30, so that it would make me feel good. That's what I like in that relationship.
And talk to me here about grandparents as we go into the next century. There are going to be more and more people, older people, who have grandchildren. This will be an important segment of our society.
You and I will be part. 90 million of us are going to be grandparents in the year 2004. All of those baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not ship them to Florida. Let's make sure that we keep that relationship going and that we use them. Last night, I was at a benefit here in Los Angeles of Starbright. And one of the things that I said at that benefit is use grandparents to visit sick children. Doesn't have to be your own grandchildren. Because grandparents have time. I did a documentary in the former Soviet Union to show the importance of grandparents. It'll be on PBS at the end of this year, just so that we have that talk. Now, I'm still going to talk about sex. But I say in the book, if you thought in the grandparent book that this is a book for tips for older people, I hope you kept your receipt. But I, from time to time, take a little time out. I did one book for children about, and you will get that, it's called Dr. Ruth Talks to Kids, about grandparents, about that special relationship.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to teach your grandchildren about sex? Will you...
No. Good question, Tom. That's my children's job.
That's their job. What you hear in the booth is Dr. Ruth gave me her pen, and I'm clicking it. You hear that in the mic. They wonder what the noise is in the booth. It's just, the folks at home, it's nothing critical. It's perfectly all right. And by the way, as you watch...
It's not even kissing.
Yeah. As you watch the show tonight, may I remind you that there's nothing wrong with your set. We'll be right back after this short time out.
No one knows more about the safety of pain relievers than doctors and hospitals. And the pain reliever they choose most? Tylenol. In fact, for pain relief, doctors recommend Tylenol more than all other brands combined. For over 20 years, Tylenol has been the first choice of doctors and hospitals. It's simply the most trusted combination of strength and safety in pain relief today. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Could 2 months' salary last forever? A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Early light breaks through. Music and dance calling you. Just need that mountain grown lift before you share your gift. Now there's rhythm and sound, making their hearts pound. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Oh, I'm dreaming Egg McMuffin, hotcakes and sausage too. Did somebody say McDonald's? I hope this dream comes true.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
The new Biore self-heating mask deep cleans your face with a gentle heat. Only Biore heats up instantly to liquefy oily residue and rinse it away clean in just 60 seconds. Amazing what a little heat can do. Biore. Clean, honest.
Can people taste the difference between Lay's Wow potato chips and their favorite chips? Let's find out.
Wow. Wow.
You know they're fat-free. Only half the calories.
These are fat-free?
Talk to me, stock boy.
Wow.
Okay, sum it up, 10 words or less.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, these are good.
You know, wow is mom upside down. Bet you can't taste the difference.
Bet I can.
Take the WOW challenge yourself. Bet you can't taste the difference, or it's free.
What?
Wow.
Next, Rosie.
Today in the countries of Chad, Burma, and Taiwan. And that's it.
All the news from Chevy Chase.
Just remember, I'm Chevy Chase.
And you're not.
And from the new series DeResta, Leela Kenzel.
Leela, I'm a little concerned for you. You've gone like over the edge.
I'm the sane person in the show. And singer Duncan Sheik.
Do you have any idea how excited I am? You know who's here today from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Truly Scrumptious.
Next, Rosie.
Monday at 4 p.m.
We're back with Dr. Ruth, whose newest book is called Grandparenthood. Let me ask you here about some things that have happened in the news that are in your department. Viagra. What did we think was going to happen when they came out with Viagra?
Tom, if they had prepared the world better, if they had said everybody has to go, it's a fantastic from a pharmacological point of view, wonderful invention. If they had said everybody has to check in case you are on any medication, not to take it. But I'll tell you something else. It's late at night, so I can speak explicit.
Yes, you can.
Here he takes it. Here he has an erection from the floor to the ceiling. He comes home. He says to her, hop into bed. Last night he did not do the dishes. He never brought her flowers, I don't know, for the last 3 weeks. He didn't even talk to her. He watched the baseball game. What is she going to say? Is she going to go to bed?
Of course she's not.
Of course not. She's going to say, absolutely not, a lot of... And now he wasted $10. Now he's standing there with this thing, and a lot of problems are going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a wonderful...
But what you are saying is there's more to a relationship than physical equipment.
You have to prepare people for that. You have to say there has to be a relationship. There has to be something looking into each other's eyes. Mm-hmm. And then, if that medication is needed, I have nothing against that. But there's not enough education. And you know what's happening right now? They already realize that now that it's legal, there's less of a thrill. It was, for example, in Switzerland, as long as it was illegal, they sold it.
Forbidden fruit, right.
And the next day, when it became legal, it wasn't so interesting anymore. So we have to do some more education about it. That has something to do with the things that I talk about in terms of sexual literacy. That relationship, sex is between your ears. If that pill is needed and the doctor says it's okay, make sure that you take your wife out for dinner before you take that pill.
Right. In other words, if all you do is take the pill and there's no dinner and no flowers and no romance,
and no relationship,
the pill's not going to do a thing. Huh?
No, the contrary. It's going to be very, very damaging to the relationship.
You know, I had a cute one the other night, if I don't mind saying so myself. Sex is a lot like the game of bridge. You know the bridge game?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't have a good partner, you better have a good hand.
I never heard that. That's pretty good. Yeah. I like that.
Now, you went on a cruise where you, you gave lectures or you gave speeches.
Yes.
How did that go? What do people ask you when you're on the boat?
I went on the Love Boat, and there were 900 couples renewing their vows, which I believe is something good to do. Mm-hmm. Leave your children, leave your worries, leave everything at home, go out and say to each other how glad you are that the two of you are together. So there were 900 couples. I've
got 1 minute now, but go ahead.
There was the captain of the boat, there was a Protestant minister, there was the captain of the television series. They gave me a microphone. I said to these 900 couples, it was 9 o'clock in the morning, I said, right after the ceremony, I want all of you to go back to your cabins and try a new position. When I said that, the captain took the microphone out of my hand. He said, not all at the same time. He was worried that if they would all do it at the same time, you know what could happen to the boat. But the idea is that sex has to be taught and has to be really experienced with a lot of humor. That's what I
No question about that. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Ruth. It's always a joy to see you. Dr. Ruth Westheimer, her newest book is called Grandparenthood. If you're on the verge of that or you're immersed in that, you will find this very, very entertaining. We'll continue right after this short break and tell you about Monday night.
It began as a vision to bring the most original stars to the eyes and ears of the world. Virgin 25.
If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get
Celebrate an all-new collection of music. First generation. 25 years of Virgin Records. Phil Collins, Smashing Pumpkins, Nina Cherry, Iggy Pop, Simple Minds, Human League. 25 smash hits. 3 decades of hit music. First Generation, a 2-CD greatest hits collection celebrating Virgin's first quarter century.
She call me Mr. Bombastic, tell me fantastic, touch me on me box.
To order, call now. UB40, Spice Girls, The Chemical Brothers, Sex Pistols, Lenny Kravitz, Paula Abdul.
straight up now. Tell me, do you really wanna love me forever? Oh, oh, oh. Or am I caught in a hit and run?
Do you really want to hurt me?
Virgin 25, the world's greatest artists together in one history-making collection. 25 years of Virgin's best music. Call now to order First Generation, 25 years of Virgin Records, a 2-CD collection that won't come your way again. Virgin 25, the vision continues. To order First Generation, 25 years of Virgin Records, call the number on your screen. Or send check or money order for $21.98 for 2 CDs, plus shipping and handling to the address shown. Rush delivery available. Call now.
Like that clicking in there, Timmy? Ballpoint pen click live on TV. You know, it's hard to believe that another repeat week is upon us, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Monday night, Lisa Kudrow and Michael Moore in a program that all of you begged that we run again. And then more begging will be answered on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. When a man's best friend is his dog, that dog has a problem. Good night, everybody.